initiate and cooperate in the process necessary to impeach Obama and bring him to trial before the Senate. Okay? And I'm working with people who are building that up, and I keep asking folks, what if by the time the election rolls around, 1 million people have signed that pledge? How many candidates do you think will want to go and sign the candidates' pledge, because they'll be able to collect tens of thousands of votes in their district just by doing so, right? Now, admittedly, I would have to confess, most of the people who'd be tempted to do that would be Republicans, I bet. See? But they're Republicans that the party is not working with to unite behind an impeachment effort, because they're cowards or they're collaborators. Okay? But the people can demand it at the polls in the way they use their vote, but they command it before Election Day by saying, we're going to use our vote this way, and if you ignore it, you're going to lose our votes. Okay? So 1 million people would be a big achievement. If you got 2 or 3 million, which is possible on the internet, you know, things can pick up hits in days that amount to several million, much less in the months we have left before the election. So if you really started to focus people on this and said, what's your heart's desire? My heart's desire is that Barack Obama and Biden and all these totalitarian, commie, leftist individuals will be out of office and stop destroying our country. How many Americans do you think would agree with that statement? I bet there are millions upon millions upon millions of them. And that if even 2 or 3 million of those millions were to sign the pledge saying we demand from a candidate that you impeach, and if you don't sign this pledge, we won't vote for you, that would get all their attention. And nothing the Republicans did with their money, nothing they did with their infrastructure, nothing the godless, grassroots-hating leadership does with its remonstrances and fear-mongering would change that one iota. And so I think it's a way to do an end run around a political system that no longer wants to represent or thinks it needs to represent the people of this country. And by doing that, we would reassert what really ought to govern America. Because what ought to govern America is the strength of what's going on among the people themselves at the grassroots. Not money power, banking power, political power, bureaucratic power. None of that's supposed to govern this country. The people of the country are making a demand based on their right understanding of what is required to secure their rights as they come from God, are supposed to be in charge of America. And so if people with that kind of mind pulled together, signed the pledge to impeach, and made that demonstration, if it grew to 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, by the time we got to the last 2 weeks of the election, it would change the political landscape for good.
Are you going to run for president again?
I think all talk of 2016 is premature by me or anybody else. They want to focus us on 2016 so that we won't do anything before then. And I think some people on the wrong side of things are convinced that they will have created enough facts in this country that it will be impossible to undo them by the time we get to 2016, even if the unlikely were to happen and the Republicans were actually to nominate a candidate who reflected conservative, God-fearing tenets, which they haven't done in at least the last 2 elections, meaning no offense to Romney and McCain. If they take it, I won't care, though. Because I am not talking about their religion. I'm talking about the stands that they both took on public policy issues that were identical to the stands of Barack Obama we have all learned to love to hate.
Dr. Alan Keyes, I count you as a friend. I count you as a great American hero, and I thank you. I thank you publicly for the critical moments in my tumultuous life when you stepped forward and stood near me, put your arm around me, both in reality and metaphorically. I am in debt to you. I have a debt of honor to you, and I'm just delighted to call you a friend and a compatriot, and hope we get to see some good people in heaven together.
Well, I appreciate the debt you feel to me, Randall, but I feel indebted to you, but not for my own sake only. I feel indebted to you for the times when you have stood when nobody else would, in the places where we must stand to save this country. You know, it is said of a physics principle that if you give me a place to stand, I can move the world. Was that Archimedes or somebody? No, I think in terms of our world, if you give us a person willing to stand for God, that person can move the world. And so many times in my lifetime, you have been that person and you still are. And I thank God for you.
Thank you. Love you. Thank you so much, Dr. Alan Keyes. Friend, don't go away. I've got a couple things that I want to share with you that I believe will be a benefit.